Cowboys Nation, buckle up because today has been absolutely wild. From the moment the sun came up, Dallas has been the epicenter of chaos across the NFL. It started before most people had their first cup of coffee, around 7:30 in the morning on the East Coast, when the Cowboys front office decided they weren't waiting for anyone. The first headline dropped like a thunderclap. Dallas pulled off a sneaky trade with the Cincinnati Bengals, bringing in linebacker Logan Wilson for nothing more than a seventh-round pick in 2026. Practically a steal, a move that screams low risk, high reward. It's the kind of trade that doesn't shake the league right away, but it shows you that Jerry and company are working behind the scenes, looking for every inch of improvement they can find. And just when fans were catching their breath from that first move, Dallas hit the gas pedal again. And this time, they didn't just make noise, they made shockwaves. The Cowboys pulled off a blockbuster deal with the New York Jets, landing one of the league's elite defensive tackles, Quinnen Williams. That's right. One of the biggest names on the defensive line is coming to Dallas in a massive trade that sent Motsy Smith packing to New York, along with a second-round pick this year and a first-rounder in 2027. That future first-round pick, by the way, will be whichever one ends up being higher between the Cowboys and the Packers, meaning Dallas can't move that asset until after next season. It's a complicated structure, but the message is simple. The Cowboys are all in. When was the last time we saw Dallas this aggressive at the trade deadline? You have to go back years, maybe to the Amari Cooper deal, to find a move with this kind of punch. Quinnen Williams isn't just another name. He's a force of nature in the middle of the line, a guy who eats double teams, collapses pockets, and changes entire game plans. Even if his sack totals aren't eye-popping this year, anyone who actually watches the tape knows his impact goes way beyond stats. With him joining Kenny Clark and Osa Odigizwa, Dallas suddenly has one of the nastiest defensive interiors in all of football. The kind of front that makes quarterbacks nervous before the snap. But that wasn't the only domino to fall. To make space for Logan Wilson on the active roster, the Cowboys released running back Malik Davis. And man, you have to feel for him. It's been a roller coaster for Davis, bouncing between the active roster and the practice squad, called up and sent down again and again. They'll have to clear waivers before he can rejoin the practice squad, but odds are he'll be back in the fold soon. Still, it's a tough reality of the business. Players grinding all year, only to get caught in the numbers game when big trades go down. For now, the running back room remains a bit of a puzzle. Jaden Blue was inactive last week, and we'll see if he earns a spot on the game day roster moving forward. Hunter Luepke continues to serve as that hybrid fullback option, while Phil Maffa and Miles Sanders remain sidelined on injured reserve. That means the Cowboys will have to juggle snaps carefully and maybe lean a little more on creativity in the backfield. The offense, as it stands, is still a work in progress, but the focus today has been squarely on that defense, and for good reason. Let's talk about the Logan Wilson deal again, because while it might not grab headlines like the Quinnen trade, it's a move that could quietly pay huge dividends. Giving up a future seventh-round pick, which might end up somewhere around the 220th overall spot, is basically pocket change. What Dallas gets in return is a hard-nosed, instinctive linebacker under team control for multiple seasons. Wilson brings leadership, experience, and consistency, all things the linebacker core desperately needed. Kenneth Murray has been up and down, and this move could finally allow him to come off the field more often. When Damone Overshone returns, he and Wilson could form a dynamic duo at the heart of the defense. Add in some rotational snaps from Shamar James and Leighton Vander Esch when healthy, and you're starting to see a clear identity form for this Cowboys defense. So what does it all mean for Dallas right now? Well, first off, it's a statement. The Cowboys are tired of being labeled as a team that settles. They're not content just to hang around in the playoff picture. They want to push all the way to the top. Moves like these aren't made by franchises that are thinking about next year. They're made by teams trying to win right now. The front office looked at the roster, saw a dominant defense that needed one more piece up front and a little more stability in the middle, and went out and got both in one day. That's bold. That's aggressive. That's the kind of mentality that changes a locker room. Of course, these trades also raise a few questions. How will Quinnen Williams fit alongside Clark and Osa? Does this mean one of them could be on the move down the line? And what about the ripple effects on the team's draft capital? Dallas gave up its second-round pick this year and that conditional first in 2027, which could limit flexibility in future drafts. But if Quinnen plays at the level he's capable of, no one in Cowboys Nation will care about those picks. Championships are built on players, not projections. The chemistry on the defensive front will be fascinating to watch. You could easily see defensive coordinator Dan Quinn lining up all three of them at once in certain packages, rotating them to keep legs fresh and pressure constant. Imagine trying to block that trio for 4 quarters. That's a nightmare scenario for opposing offensive lines. And let's not forget the ripple effect it'll have on the pass rushers. Micah Parsons and DeMarcus Lawrence are going to love having that kind of disruption coming from the inside. It's been a long time since we've seen the Cowboys operate like this at the trade deadline, pulling off multiple moves that reshape the roster in one swoop. The energy around the team right now feels different, like there's a real belief that this could be the year. You can sense it from the players, the coaches, even the fan base. After years of cautious front office decisions, Dallas finally took a swing. And whether it connects or not, you have to respect the intent. The front office isn't done yet, either. There's still roster details to iron out. Jerry Jones hinted earlier this week that reinforcements are on the way. Perion Winfrey is eligible to return from injured reserve soon, and both Damone Overshone and Savone Rebel should be available by the time the Raiders game rolls around. That'll add even more depth and versatility to a defense that's already loaded with talent. Trayvon Diggs could also make his way back later in the year, though that's still up in the air. The Cowboys' current draft pick situation looks a little lighter now. They hold 2 first-rounders in 2026, their own and the one from the Packers, plus a 4th-rounder, a 5th, and potentially a compensatory 5th depending on lead decisions. They also have a 7th from the Chiefs. It's not a treasure chest, but it's enough flexibility for future tweaks. What matters most, though, is the now. Dallas is building a roster designed to compete with the best teams in the league immediately. So when you grade the Cowboys' trade deadline moves, think about the message behind them. They didn't just trade for names, they traded for impact. They traded for attitude. They traded for belief. Bringing in Quinnen Williams and Logan Wilson sends a clear signal. The Cowboys aren't satisfied with being good. They want to be great. This is a team that's tired of moral victories and tired of falling short in January. They're building something meant to last, and today's chaos might just be the spark that lights a championship run. All right, Cowboys Nation, let's keep this rolling because the story doesn't end with just 2 trades. The ripple effect of today's moves is massive, and it's going to be fascinating to see how it all plays out on the field. Quinnen Williams stepping onto the Cowboys' defensive line isn't just a talent upgrade. It's a complete shift in how opponents will have to approach Dallas' front 7. Every quarterback in the league will have to account for him in the pocket, and offensive coordinators will be forced to rethink game plans entirely. Williams isn't just a player who lines up and eats space. He's a disruptor, someone who can collapse the interior and allow the likes of Micah Parsons to work freely on the edges. Pair him with Kenny Clark, who's been quietly dominant, and Osa Odigizwa, and suddenly the Cowboys' interior looks like a brick wall against the run and a pressure factory against the pass. The depth alone gives the defense flexibility to rotate players and keep everyone fresh, and that's a huge advantage over the long grind of an NFL season. And then there's Logan Wilson. A 7th-round pick for a starting caliber linebacker sounds like a steal because, well, it is. Wilson brings a blend of leadership, instinct, and durability that the Cowboys were missing. He's the type of guy who knows where the ball is going before it even leaves the quarterback's hand, who reads formations and adjusts the defense on the fly. His presence could elevate the younger linebackers around him, giving guys like Shamar James the time and space to develop without being thrown into the fire too quickly. And if Damone Overshone comes back healthy, that could form a core in the middle that actually dictates the pace of a game rather than reacting to it. This isn't just about one player or one trade. It's about constructing a defense that can impose its will from snap 1 to the final whistle. Of course, roster moves come with casualties, and Malik Davis finds himself back on the practice squad after being released to make room for Wilson. Poor guy has been through a whirlwind of activations, waivers, and reassignments. It's tough on any player to be in that limbo. But in the grand scheme of the team's strategy, every roster spot counts, and Dallas had to make a move to accommodate the new additions. The running back room still has questions. Jaden Blue, inactive last week, will have to prove himself to earn snaps, and Hunter Luepke continues to serve as the versatile fullback hybrid. Miles Sanders and Phil Maffa remain on injured reserve, meaning the Cowboys' backfield will have to operate creatively and efficiently with what's available. Now, let's get into the bigger picture here. When you look at the way the Cowboys approach the trade deadline, it's clear they're sending a message to the rest of the league. This is a team that is tired of being considered almost or good enough. They want to compete at the highest level right now. Giving up future draft capital isn't something you do lightly, especially the conditional first-round pick in 2027. But the calculus is simple. The potential return, in terms of immediate defensive dominance, outweighs any abstract future value. Championships aren't built on picks. They're built on players who can perform under pressure in January when the lights are brightest. Quinnen Williams, Logan Wilson, and the supporting cast around them are all about creating that reality. Defensive coordinator Dan Quinn now has a wealth of options, and it's exciting to imagine the packages he can deploy. Rotating Quinnen with Kenny Clark and Osa Odigizwa will keep legs fresh and pressure constant, forcing opposing offenses to make mistakes. Micah Parsons, already a game-changer on the edge, will now face less resistance internally because Williams can collapse the middle, creating lane after lane for Parsons to attack. And let's not forget the psychological impact this has on opponents. Knowing you're up against a defensive front that can punish you on every snap forces errors, changes decisions, and can swing close games in Dallas' favor. Off the field, this is a statement about the culture the Cowboys are trying to build. For years, there has been skepticism about whether the team could take the necessary risks to chase a championship. Today's moves signal a shift. Dallas is actively pursuing greatness, not just hoping for it. Jerry Jones and the front office are showing that they're willing to make bold decisions, even if it means sacrificing future flexibility. There's risk here, sure, but the potential reward is immense. This isn't about making headlines or creating hype. It's about assembling a roster capable of contending with the best teams in the NFL right now. And speaking of the bigger picture, the timing of these trades is crucial. Getting these pieces before the stretch run allows the coaching staff to integrate them into the system, develop chemistry, and adjust schemes as needed. Williams and Wilson aren't just parachuted in. They're going to be part of the rotation, part of the plan, part of the identity Dallas wants to establish. Integrating them properly over the next few weeks will be key. And if the coaching staff executes well, this could be a defining moment for the season. But before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest updates on the Dallas Cowboys. Feel free to share your thoughts on the news in the comments as well. And what would be one of the most shocking moves in recent NFL history? Whispers are circulating that Green Bay Packers quarterback Jordan Love has agreed to terms with the Dallas Cowboys. While nothing has been officially confirmed, sources close to the situation suggest that Love's potential departure from Green Bay could send shockwaves through the league, leaving fans and analysts scrambling to process the implications. The rumor alone is enough to dominate sports talk shows and social media threads, as Love has been viewed as the heir apparent to Aaron Rodgers, expected to take over as the Packers' franchise quarterback once Rodgers' era winds down. But speculation now hints that Dallas, always aggressive in pursuing young talent with high upside, may have swooped in with an offer too tantalizing to refuse. If true, this move would mark a dramatic shift for both teams. The Cowboys, seeking to solidify their quarterback future, would instantly add a dynamic player with mobility, arm strength, and a high ceiling. Meanwhile, the Packers would face the daunting task of rethinking their long-term plan at the most critical position on the field. Conversations in NFL circles suggest that the Cowboys front office has been quietly exploring options for months, and Jordan Love's name consistently appeared at the top of their wish list. Fans of both franchises are now caught in a whirlwind of speculation. Green Bay supporters are left questioning the logic of letting a young quarterback with untapped potential walk, while Dallas fans are already envisioning the new possibilities for an offense hungry to recapture its past dominance. Meanwhile, commentators are already weighing in on whether Love's skill set perfectly complements the Cowboys' offensive scheme and how this could reshape the NFC landscape for years to come. While the deal remains unconfirmed, the mere rumor is enough to dominate NFL chatter. One thing is certain: if Jordan Love does indeed suit up in silver and blue, the league may be witnessing the start of a seismic shift in power, with far-reaching consequences for playoff hopes, draft strategies, and even fan loyalties. Until the paperwork is signed and announced, every mention of this potential blockbuster will only fuel the fire. For now, NFL fans are left on edge, waiting to see if one of the league's most shocking rumors will become a reality. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to keep receiving exclusive news about the Dallas Cowboys, please subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. We always look forward to your comments and opinions. See you in the next video.